This episode is brought to you by Presidio Healthcare, America's first pro-life Christian health insurance. This is not a sharing ministry or crowd sharing program. It is real insurance, robust, protective, and surprisingly affordable, built on values that never change. See if Presidio is available in your state at presidiocare.com/NWOS.
Living in the new world.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for being here once again. And fair warning, this episode, we are both coming in here, Melissa and I, pretty dang fired up because there's a lot that's happening in the world. And we are just kind of feeling like we're the crazy people. Can I say that? Is that fair to say?
On this episode of You Know What Really Grinds My Gears?
No, fully, we're going to upset some people on this episode.
We are.
It is what it is. Really don't care, to be honest with you, because the world has lost its freaking mind. And that's the mood that we're in with hopping up into the very warm loft. If I start to sweat profusely, one, it's warm. Two, I'm fired up and a little irate at a number of things. But Melissa's going to tackle this from the jump here. We're going to be discussing Lindsay Clancy.
Well, sort of. Not the case
Right.
again, because we talked about the case last week, and I don't want to beat a dead horse. This is a very frustrating thing.
Don't want to talk about the case. We want to talk about the response to the case.
Yes.
And so many of the reactions and the other performative social media videos that are being put out there, and some of the feedback that even we got with our episode last week. So without any further ado, let's jump right in because,
All right.
like I said, I'm very fired up today.
Okay, yeah. So I was definitely feeling very fired up. I still am, but I want to approach this not from a spot of anger and frustration, but from a more biblically based, calmer, like, okay, ladies, we're gonna reel in our batshit crazy. I want to see if I can reel anyone back, because I was just talking to my daughter about how there's so few women, strong, reasonable, biblically based women for us to look up to as far as podcasters go and everything like that. When you look at the strongest voices for women, so I think that it's really causing a lot of what we're seeing.
Her words, not mine.
Right.
It is true, though, I will say.
Last week we were talking about postpartum psychosis, but what I want to talk about this week is mass psychosis that we are seeing throughout women of the West. And it is causing a lot of divide between boyfriends and husbands and children. And it's just doing a lot of damage.
Not in this household.
No, not in this household.
Same page.
Yeah, so last week, just a quick little recap. Last week, we spoke a bit about the Lindsay, whoa, I just took her name in. The Lindsay Clancy case. Lindsay Clancy was a 32-year-old labor and delivery nurse. She was struggling with postpartum depression. They now call it psychosis. It was not determined to be psychosis before the murders. Now it is. She basically was dealing with this for 4 months. She was prescribed 13 different SSRIs, antidepressants, antipsychotics, a combination of different drugs over a 4-month period. And then at the end of that 4 months, when her youngest child was 8 months old, she had the husband go pick up dinner. And then she methodically and one by one brought her children down into the basement and strangled them with exercise bands.
What a hero. It turns out she's the victim in all this.
She then, I will say, faked her own suicide, because I do not believe that a nurse does not know how to commit suicide, especially with what she did. It just is not effective, and she knows that. And so faked her own suicide, whether she hung out the window and dropped or threw herself out the window head first, like she claims. She is now in a wheelchair and survived her suicide attempt. So now women around the country are rallying around Lindsay Clancy. They are using her as this beacon of Me Too. This is kind of the Me Too movement rearing its ugly head again. And it's the same characters that are wearing the pink shirts. So now I think we are on day 20 as we record this of the trial. We have hundreds of women, and the crowd is growing by the day. Women are flying into Massachusetts. First, it was just some women in Massachusetts. Now women are flying to Massachusetts. They are wearing pink shirts. We are Lindsay. We stand with Lindsay. Me Too Lindsay. And they are holding up sunset heart hands to show their support to her. And they are holding their own precious children outside the courtroom while all of this is going on. And they are saying that we also experience postpartum depression. Therefore, we see where she's coming from. We see what drove her here. And everyone else failed her but her.
This isn't what this entire episode is going to be about. We could very easily do an hour on this because it's so
I can do a day on this, ladies.
Infuriating.
Yes.
But just overall, the underlying message, I guess, of this episode is going to be that, like, the world has lost its mind. It has lost its sensibilities. It seems to have lost its discernment. And we can't make sense of it here. You guys can feel free to chime in. Like I said, fully anticipate that we're going to upset some people here today, which is fine. Do whatever you want. Be mad at us. Unsubscribe. don't really care anymore.
Yeah, I don't want to hear the whole, well, clearly you've never struggled with postpartum. Clearly you don't. Clearly this. Clearly you haven't been watching the trial. You know what? I haven't watched every single moment of the trial. And if you have, and you have children, I will say shame on you. If you have had this trial playing in your home for hours a day for 20 days, and then later on you tune in to an hour of Candace Owens, you are not parenting correctly. You are not focusing your heart and mind on where it needs to be in your own home.
Especially if you sympathize with her.
Right. Well, yes, you are feeding depravity and you are feeding evil and darkness that is entering your own spirit. And we need to start fighting back against these dark forces because that's exactly what we're seeing. So right now, I mean, okay, in the past decade, I wrote a lot of things down because I wanted to make sure that I cover everything quickly without ranting because I can do
she's
that.
Melissa.
Because I can. Whew. Okay, so in the past 10 years, nearly 5 million women have suffered from postpartum depression. 5 million. Of those 5 million, 70% of them have been prescribed some kind of an antidepressant. So we're talking millions of women, right? And that's why so many are now saying, well, I see where she's coming from. Less than 0.001% of those murdered their children. So you can't say these drugs cause you to murder your children because of those women, 0.001% actually went on to do this. It is okay to call evil evil. It is okay to say somebody has psychosis, yes, but what they did was evil. But for some reason, when it comes to women, other women will not allow that to be the case. Why is it that we are having such a hard time as women calling depravity, depravity, calling evil, evil, and seeing it just for what it is? Everything is not a grand conspiracy. Everything doesn't have a twist. And this is what happens when you immerse yourself in real crime drama. Now, I used to watch Dateline a lot. I found it to be weirdly entertaining, and I allowed that darkness and that mystery and that kind of Nancy Drew, like I used to read Nancy Drew books growing, which are totally harmless. The Scooby-Doo effect, like I would have got away with it.
No, we've played this up here on the podcast, but my reaction to you always watching those episodes was
Stop
watching it.
Stop watching it.
It's disgusting. That entire show disgusts me. The fact that you think that it's entertainment to exploit somebody else's tragedy, the realities of which you are so detached from while watching television. And maybe this is me speaking as a former police officer. The realities of these crime scenes aren't entertainment. They certainly aren't something that you should be like, ooh, let me pop my popcorn, sit here and just be entertained and engaged for an hour at the mystery of this Scooby-Doo case. It absolutely just, it frustrates me beyond belief. I can't.
But when you look at
this is what it turns into, what we're seeing now.
Because when you look at the top 10 podcasts in the world,
True
5
crime.
of them are true crime.
Yep.
So half of the top 10 podcasts in the world are true crime, and it's women that are fueling this. It's
Which is
not
one
men,
thing if you
Tony.
want to learn from like a situation or a circumstance and
Right.
be like, okay, yeah,
It makes you more aware.
But when it just fuels this speculative nonsense that we're seeing, it's a problem.
We're starting to see the result of it, and I didn't see it before.
It's a race to the bottom. It's absolute garbage content.
Well, it poisons your outlook on humanity, and it poisons your outlook. And so, like before, I was like, okay, well, it made me really skeptical of like walking down the street and things like that, and you know, like flirting with people online because stuff could happen. And that's the kind of stuff that
flirting with people
No,
online.
I'm just saying, like a lot of these women would be like talking to somebody and they get catfished,
Yeah.
and then so.
It's the problem.
I
with the
would get
online
immersed
world.
in those kind of stories, and I would be like, no, I'm just curious. Women can be victims, and that's why we like it, because it makes us aware. But I'm realizing that it poisons so much more than that. I stopped watching Dateline a few years ago, and I'm so glad I did. Now, when my children go to bed at night, I try to watch something biblically based or something that I can learn from, something about the future, something about investing money wisely. Like I'm trying to learn for an
Something
hour
that's actually
before.
beneficial.
Yes. And that has done a number for, it has done so much for just the way that I feel when I go to bed at night and when I wake up in the morning.
It's poison. Like you said, it'll distort your perception of the world.
Right. And I think that so many women have fallen into this hole. So, we have a world that glorifies protecting women no matter what. Well, we have a world of women in the West that agree with or demand the protection of women no matter what. And also the protection of their peace and their sense of self and me.
Believe all women.
And that's not of God. So it's not that God wants you to devalue yourself as a woman or that you're not equal to men, but God wants you to hold yourself accountable, and he wants you to serve your family. When he talks about, women, they're like, women in the Bible are the lioness. They are the mama bears. They are the line between good and evil when it comes to the next generation and their family.
Not anymore.
And the enemy knows that if he can get past women, I mean, it literally talks about the enemy going after mothers. Why would the enemy want to attack mothers? Because they are the line of defense between him and the next generation, him and the youth. And if you look at society, we have 75 million abortions worldwide. This is 75 million mothers saying it is okay for my own self to kill my children. So why are we surprised when mothers are rising up? When one in 4 women in America have had an abortion, why are we surprised when a bunch of women are in pink supporting a mother that killed her 3 children?
I saw a meme with this whole thing was a cartoon, like comic strip thing where it was, oh, you guys are advocating for late-term abortions. What's next? The murdering of toddlers? Oh, no, that'll never happen. And yet here we are.
Yet here we are. We are finding excuses. We're saying it couldn't possibly be her fault. It was the medical system.
She's the victim.
It
the
was
perpetrator's
the
the victim who deserves our sympathies, not the actual victims,
Right.
the children who were choked to death by their mother.
Well, and we live in a society also that hates men. And I mean, it's just the reality of the situation. I have sons. I have a husband who I love. And so I don't like to see men being attacked relentlessly. I don't know who Patrick Clancy was, okay? I don't know anything about their marriage or anything like that. But by the evidence, it appears that he took 3 months of paternity leave when the 3rd baby was born. He stopped working at the office, worked from home so he could help her throughout the day. He was active in her telehealth calls, sat next to her, asked many, many questions about whether or not the drugs were making things worse. Both grandparents were involved. This woman had the village. She had the husband that worked from home who took.
No, the state of Massachusetts failed her. Most of the
Yeah.
healthcare system of
So
Massachusetts failed her. And her husband also failed her, which is what led to the murder of his children.
Right. Like, well, when I think about women, like, let's think about women from the 1700s or 1600s, where half of their children were dying. I mean, you had to have 2 children to have 1 survive. Like, if you wanted to have 2 heirs, you better have 4 babies because, I mean, these women were living tragic lives in tragic times. We in the West, and that's not, that's Europe and America. We in the West live the most privileged lives. We live the most comfortable, least poverty, least starvation, least disease. We have antibiotics. I mean, antibiotics alone has made motherhood much easier.
Most prosperous time
Yes.
historically ever, yes.
But
all
yet
time.
we are the most unhappy generation, and we are the most, I would say, like demented mothers, because you see mothers during the dust storm and they've got a baby on their back and one on their hip and one that they're walking and they're trying to drag water, and they were doing their duties because they viewed responsibility. Maybe they didn't view it as privilege, but they viewed it as something that they were supposed to do. That was their role in
It
life.
should be your nature.
Yes.
Should it not?
Right.
To love and care for and protect those that need your protection.
I mean, I do get levels of postpartum when I give birth because your hormones go haywire. I mean, you go from having all this estrogen and progesterone and it dumps, and then you don't know what your brain's like. You're just like,
Okay, but is there a delineation that needs to be made between depression and psychosis?
Yes,
because we had a lot of people last week trying to point that out. to
right.
us.
Postpartum depression is not the same as postpartum psychosis. Psychosis is something different, but still not an excuse.
It's just more severe.
If you feel yourself going into psychosis and you say, well, by the time you're in psychosis, you can't make decisions. This woman was still making decisions. She still went and picked up a prescription for herself the day before, was acting normal. She called in dinner, all of these things. She had enough wherewithal to remove herself from the situation, but she chose not to. That in itself is a selfish decision.
She planned and executed a premeditated murder.
Right.
I think the evidence would suggest that that's pretty
Right.
cut and dry.
And I don't want to hear Patrick did all this stuff. No, if you're watching this and you're using astrology to solve the case, she's a Virgo and he's a Leo, or no, she was a Leo and he was a Virgo. Who cares? Or he has scary eyes, or he looks like the Idaho killer. I heard that. And so this guy's clearly a psychopath.
Women don't strangle others.
Yes, women don't strangle. Women would never strangle. So we just saw basically what's now being called a copycat murder in North Dakota. So now we have a 22-year-old mother in North Dakota who was immersed in this case, watching this. This started on July 20th, the trial. She's watching this. She calls her husband on August 6th with a gun pointed at the thing and says, say goodbye to your children. She then goes and cuts the throat. So women don't do violent crimes, right? Gets a knife, cuts the throat of her 5-month-old son, her 1-year-old son and her 3-year-old daughter. The 1-year-old miraculously survives having his throat cut by his mother.
But will be
Messed up for life. This
yeah.
father is left with just this one child. He's cradling this child in the hospital. His 5-month-old and his 3-year-old are dead. And people now in the comments are saying he drove her to this.
It's his fault.
Why are we always just pushing off blame? And again, when it comes back to we live in the most prosperous time, we have it too easy. And I don't wish hardship upon the West. I don't wish hardship upon women. But when life is so cushy and easy, you start to fill your brain with things that don't matter.
Garbage, excess.
And you start to become obsessed with things and telling yourself self-pity. Like everything's like, you do you, girl. We've lost the mama bears and now we just have the yes queens.
Natural affections.
Yeah.
Women have lost their natural affections. And what has been labeled as being evil is now good. And good is evil.
Well, okay. So in 2 Timothy 3:6 talks about false teachers. False teachers can be podcasters, guys. These can be people that come with a sense of religiosity, but they actually speak nothing of the Bible. They sow doubt. They sow confusion. They sow hatred. They sow all of these dark, horrible feelings in women.
And the best current example of this would be Candace Owens. And yes, that's going to upset so many of our viewers. I don't care. The woman is evil. She spews nothing but evil and sows nothing but doubt amongst those who are willing to fall for it.
Well, if you've been watching Candace
and
Owens...
if that's not clear to you, shame on you, because it should be.
Well, if you've been watching Candace Owens for 5 days a week since 10 months ago or 11 months ago, whenever she started this nonsense, please tell me one thing that she has proved. Tell me one thing that she has proved.
She has
with
proven
evidence.
that there are droves of very naive people in the world, primarily women in her audience. And that's not me bad-mouthing women. That's just, again, you objectively acknowledging who it is that's watching Candace Owens. You and I have gotten a lot of comments here between the podcast of like, well, it's clear you guys don't watch Candace Owens.
Right.
You're right. I don't watch Candace Owens on a regular basis because when we did, we very quickly figured out what it is she's trying to do, which is manipulate the masses, which would service her audience because the woman's making literally tens, possibly hundreds of millions of dollars a year annually, exploiting that naivete of so many of the people that are watching her.
Well, and I don't know that even some of the women are completely naive. I think they just love the entertainment factor of it. They know that at this certain time of day, that live's going to come on. And
what's
they can sit
entertaining
there
about attacking a widow and the close friends of a person who was assassinated?
It's juicy. It tickles the ears, which is also biblical. So they know
it's
that
smut. It's garbage.
Every day, it's like this. Candace Owens Live is the soap opera of today. They know that they can sit down Monday through Friday and they can watch an hour of I'm going to bring a little fact, then I'm going to leave you on a little cliffhanger, and then it's a television
Explain that
show.
to me, though. Why is it so enticing? Because I don't get it. It disgusts me.
I think it just gives women that are bored something to look forward to. They think they're like solving the mystery. But if you think that you're watching it because you just want the truth or you're just solving the mystery, you are lying to yourself, because you have spent 10 months watching this woman now and she has solved no mystery. She has brought nothing new to the table but a bunch of slander and accusations. And that's just the truth.
And it's self-perpetuating. You're contributing to it by watching it.
Yeah. So 2 Timothy 3:6 talks about this exact subject. Please go look it up. Please read it for yourself. It says false teachers, will sneak into the homes like a serpent into the homes of gullible women. Okay, and I know that sounds offensive, but it's women that are laden in their own sins. They are feeling depressed. They are feeling self-pity. They are feeling like they don't have any self-worth. Their husband isn't helping. Their children are holding them back. They're feeling heavy with their own sins and their own depression, and they're very easy to convince.
I think it's boredom.
Yeah.
I think we have it so good that
yes.
you're bored, and because of that, you resort to the muck.
Yeah, women used to have to go
to
haul water and boil it and wash the
Right.
clothes and make the bread and grind the wheat. And now we have microwave food and robot vacuums and Candace Owens to fill the downtime. And so it says, for among them are those false teachers who will worm their way into homes and captivate morally weak and spiritually dwarfed women. And spiritually dwarfed doesn't mean you're not a Christian, you're not a believer. It means that you're spending more time watching true crime than you are digging into scripture. You are spiritually dwarfed and you are weighed down by the burden of your own sins, easily swayed by various impulses. You're easy to be pulled into things because it's juicy and it's entertaining. Always learning, but never coming to the realization of truth.
Mm-hmm.
So
Wow.
it's just information. I'm this armchair detective. We've solved the case.
And it's not just Candace Owens. It's so much of the internet, unfortunately. Like I said, it's a race to the bottom. You have people who are literally trying to appeal to the worst parts of you in order to make as much money as they possibly can.
And so there's so many women and there's so many men, lots of men, almost all the men, the husbands. They're like, come on back over here to sanity. Like, please stop saying Me Too, Lindsay, and all this stuff. Like, I need you to come back to a place of sanity. And women are saying, how dare you speak on it? If you are a man, you may not speak on the Lindsay Clancy case. If you are a woman who doesn't have psychosis or didn't have depression, how dare you speak on this? You have no place. Why does that sound familiar?
It's an issue of morality. In the same, you're alluding to the abortion issue. Why, you're not a woman. How can you say that it's not all right to murder a child, to murder a baby? In fact, that's not even a baby. You're mistaken. Stop spreading misinformation like we got over the past couple of weeks from so many. Only women, literally only women. This is not me as a male trying to pick on women. It's me speaking objectively about the fact that we've received a lot of these comments and it's only come from women, which is incredibly troubling and baffling.
But if you go to the whole abortion case or the argument for abortion, if we can justify the murder of children in the womb, why can we not justify the murder of children outside the womb? Because
and now we're doing it.
If she were feeling the way that she were feeling, and everything is about feelings. And when you take modern empathy, or as my girl Allie Beth will put it, who is a good voice of reason to listen to, by the way, toxic empathy. I mean, I always say modern empathy, but if you take empathy, it has become an idol and a god and a measuring stick for holiness. I am more empathetic than you. You look at these white women clapping, come on in to that lady went missing to have
suicidal empathy.
Yes, suicidal empathy. There was a guy that was.
She's talking about the case in Spain.
There was that man that I forgot what beach it was on. Maybe it was in Spain. But anyway, he drops his pants, starts doing horrendous things to himself on a beach with family while watching children. A bunch of dads get together with their lawn chairs and start beating this man to a pulp. I think there were like 6 dads beating this guy.
As they should.
A white woman runs in her bikini and is pushing them off this man and then petting the guy.
Advocating for your own demise.
Yes. Like, this modern empathy has become an idol to these women.
It's virtue signaling.
It's virtue signaling, but it's misplaced empathy. They're never placing the empathy on the true victims. And they are afraid to call evil, especially when it's around who they consider to be the victims. Like, they love to root for the underdogs.
But it's funny because it's completely circumstantial. You pointed out, you were having a discussion with the video about the fact that it's not to bring identity politics into this, but it's not just women supporting women. If this were, it's going to make me sound very liberal in this moment, but if this were a black woman in the hood who had murdered her 3 children, do you think we'd be seeing the same type of reaction? Because I don't.
Actually, there was just a woman who is a black woman that was she drowned her 15-month-old during COVID and stabbed her teenage daughter and her husband when she found out that he was having an affair. And she said that she was in psychosis because of
this is
COVID.
going to be the go-to now.
And so she was just acquitted, I think maybe like 2 days ago, and walked free and given custody back of her children.
What?
She says she is looking forward to moving forward with her children.
On my health journey, I have switched to a whole foods, dairy-free, and gluten-free diet, but I was struggling to get all the protein that I needed, and sometimes I want something sweet or refreshing, and that is where my daily smoothie comes in. I researched a lot of different protein options, and all roads led me right back to the protein that I've trusted for years, Equip Protein.
Yeah, Equip Protein really is the cleanest that we could find. It has none of the junk, artificial sweeteners, colors, or fillers that all those popular whey proteins have. And the best part is no protein bloat and stomach aches that often come with so many whey proteins.
Yeah, the Equip Prime is an all-natural grass-fed beef protein, and since it is free of dairy, soy, eggs, and whey, it doesn't cause any of that gut inflammation and discomfort. In fact, it has one of the shortest ingredient lists of supplements in the industry. So you get a clean 21 grams of protein and not much else.
The cool thing about beef protein is that it's made the same way as bone broth, low and slow to preserve the nutrition. It's packed with collagen, gelatin, and micronutrients that your body actually needs and will use to repair your joints and soft tissue.
Plus, Equip really cares about the quality of their product, and they rigorously and transparently test for heavy metals, microplastics, toxins, and chemicals. I love their protein and their Prime bars. I always carry those around in my purse and in my car. My favorite bar is the dairy-free chocolate. It is so good. And my go-to flavor for smoothies is the vanilla, but there are 10 great flavors to choose choose from.
Prime Protein has been such a game changer for us, and now is the absolute perfect time to stock up because Equip is giving our viewers an incredible offer. Just head to our link down in the description below or go to equipfoods.com/NWOS and use our promo code NWOS to get 20% off your first order.
Okay, but I'd say she's the exception to the rule. You're going to see more and more of this happening
Well,
now.
now
especially if
everyone's
Lindsay
starting
Clancy
to
gets
go
off.
around this mother in North Dakota. We're going to see more and more of this if we don't start holding women to the same standard that we hold men to. So we're seeing now on TikTok and Instagram these trends that are really dangerous. So we are Lindsay Clancy. She is all of us. Oh, no, she is not. I'm a mother of 5 and she is not me. I go a little protective. My postpartum depression, if you will, which I wouldn't even call it that. My anxiety is about protecting my children. And I will literally shank someone prison style that threatens my children. There's a mom who nobody started a GoFundMe for. Lindsay Clancy's got over $1 million in her GoFundMe from 30,000 separate donors, guys.
What do you think the ratio is with that being female contributions?
It's got to be like 95% or more.
Yeah.
So we just had a mother literally walk through fire for her children. When they say I would walk through fire for my children, she did. She had 6 children. Her house caught on fire. She carried them out one by one while she was burning.
And how many people know about that story? You don't see that being made readily available online. You don't see that being celebrated for what it is, which it should be, because this woman is heroic and she actually is doing exactly what it is that every parent in this world should be doing.
Yeah,
every time we get the message of, when it comes to the abortion debate of, so you expect women to potentially die if they need to hold on to this child in utero. Okay, I'm not going to go there as far as addressing the specific details, but I, as a father, speaking for myself, would tell you that I would gladly, happily forfeit my life for any one of my children if presented with the opportunity or forced to make the choice. Yeah, let my children live and allow for me to die. Why is it a selfish act to be like, nope, sorry, kiddo, it's on you. I got to do me. It's a disgusting mentality. And yet this is a mantra that is recited repeatedly when it comes to the abortion debate.
So TikTok and Instagram trends with all of these hashtags. So what we're seeing now is performative depression. And you can say, no, this is just women saying like standing in solidarity. This is performative depression.
As performative as it
We
gets.
have women throwing ice at bathtubs with horrible words saying like, instead of hurting my children, I'm throwing ice at a bathtub.
Not just that, but stopping in the middle of the video to make sure that they're still in frame so that you can see them throwing this ice.
Right. Watch their eyes. Like the one woman, like she keeps looking down at her camera to make sure that she's still, like, you have to think about the fact that she set her camera up on a tripod in her bathtub to film herself doing this and then performatively crying and then holding her sweet, precious baby going, well, that helped.
And then she hits the stop button and goes and cooks herself some Pop-Tarts over in the kitchen and carries on with her day. I hate social media. This is a prime example of why that is. Watch for the glance. Watch for the glance. Oh, Lindsay. Oh, wait, am I still
There
in frame?
it is. She just did it right
I
there.
thought I worked out a frame there for a second.
She looked down again. Camera. Oh.
Lindsay. Yeah, how about the kids?
Yeah, we're her
You
kids.
care at all about the kids? How about you throw some ice for the children that were brutally murdered by their own mother? How about that?
So, I mean, we have mothers literally rocking their children saying, same Lindsay. Somebody needs to go check on all of these babies. And what is so incredibly sad is that is forever on the internet. Your children could see one day that you were same Lindsay while rocking them. We have women crying on the couch. We have women using their children as literal props for this performative depression.
We'll play a few of these. Here's another one where the chick is throwing ice, but she's also wearing booty shorts.
Oh, they always are.
Just in case that wasn't enough for you just to watch this performative, disgusting display. Fellas, how about you watch as well? Because I've got these shorts hiked up my ass. Some days as a mom, my patience is hard to control. Well, you're a grown adult.
Instead of having a screaming match with my toddler, which why would you be screaming at
I throw ice instead into my tub because that's a rational response to my own crazy delusions.
Can you imagine if you came home after working and this is what you found? Or if you found this on your wife's?
No, it would be cause for concern.
It allows me to feel angry without
So
being
I can
destructive.
be destructive. So I can take it out on this ice in my tub rather than my children. What the hell is wrong with you?
Well, mothers are feeling emboldened to share with the world because, I mean, this is the brain rot that's out there. They're feeling emboldened to share with the world that they have thoughts of harming their own precious children.
But
and
the bigger problem is that people see these videos and they celebrate them. And it's not, this is
Yeah.
across the board. And this is why I hate social media so much. You guys have heard me harp on this time and time again. Because it's not just stuff like this. It's I guarantee you there's stuff that you watch where you have this entire characterization of the people that you're watching. Like, oh, they're this, they're so great. These people are awesome. I got news for you. No, they are not. We know some of them. And that's just not the case. It's completely inaccurate. And it's why when we started this podcast, I wanted to pound home the fact that like we're doing it because it's raw and it's not a depiction, which is so much of what you see online, including the content that you watch. Don't think for a second that this doesn't apply to anything it is that you watch. This is just, it just serves as such a fantastic example of the lack of discernment in our world and how people have freaking lost their damn minds.
Right. And now, so I feel like now that I've done a little bit of my ranting, I want to, if you are right now feeling very frustrated with what we're saying, this is where I want to like really have a heart to heart. So, I mean, what does this teach our children? What does this teach our daughters? We are teaching our children through social media, which I truly believe is some kind of a psyop. And I hate that word, but at the same time, like by design, they are causing divide in the family.
It's
they are
mass
causing
manipulation.
divide between mother and child, between husband and wife. It's mass manipulation. And please don't fall for it. And please don't feel like a victim because of your greatest blessings.
But you're right. It's all of it. It's done. It's for nothing but sowing strife.
Right.
Men versus women, black
Yes.
versus white, LGBTQ, X, Y, Z
Yeah.
versus cis or straight. It's all intended to piss us off and get us fired up, which I am here today. I
Right.
see the hypocrisy in that. But when it comes to issues like this that should just be straightforward, this woman murdered her children and we're standing with a woman, with
Yes.
a mom, with a murderer.
Well, I mean, it's very, very important to say, okay, modern empathy and being empathetic for everything and making an excuse for everything is not the same as biblical truth. It's not. It is. And to say, well, you can't judge her, put down your stones. God will judge ultimately the actions of all of these people, but that does not mean that everything goes, because there's always victims in an everything goes situation. And unfortunately, in these cases, it is the children, the true victims, and not just her children, but all of the children of mothers who are feeling like their blessings are burdens. And we are teaching these young women, which now 40% of women from 18 to 28 are on some kind of an antidepressant or anti-anxiety drug. 40%, guys, like, come on, we need to come back down to reality and realize the world in which we live.
Everybody's a victim though. And there's
Right.
a complete lack of accountability. Nothing is your fault. It's the fault of everyone else, or the world is just against you.
Well, and it started in childhood where parents were not able to see fault in their own children. It was not my Johnny, not my Jenny. Nope, they didn't do
No.
that. There was always an excuse. And when you allow your children to say, it's not my fault, when it is their fault, like that is the first thing that's going to come out of a kid's mouth. Well, it's not my fault because, and if you allow that kind of behavior in your children, this is the result that you get. And it's like, well, it's not their fault. And this is also,
No, it is your
this
fault.
mass hysteria, it's setting women back significantly because we all fought for, and women from the past fought for equal treatment, equal rights. We're equal to men.
Women's
But-
suffrage.
Yes. But if you now want to go and argue that women cannot be held accountable for anything because of mass hysteria and emotions, you've now set them back to the point where they were wanting to put women, the hysterical women, in these facilities and give them lobotomies because they couldn't control their own emotions. If we can't control our own emotions and we can't be held to the same legal standards as men, then we are no different than children. Now we are children. So when all these people are like, we need to repeal the 19th and everything, if this is the way that women are behaving, then we're not making a very strong case for ourselves.
Nope.
If we want to be legally treated like children, then we don't get all the same equal rights.
Let's be clear about this. We are in full support of women having
Absolutely.
the ability to
but
vote and
they
speak for
must
themselves.
behave like adults, and they must be held accountable to the same standards that men are held accountable
However,
for.
when you lack this discernment and you put that on public display, you're not making a case for yourself. You're actually
Right.
feeding into the argument. You're doing yourself absolutely zero favors.
Zero favors. And my sister, I just had lunch with her yesterday. Her attorney, who also does a lot of like family divorce attorney type stuff, was saying that all of these men are like, you are giving them so much fuel when it comes to paternity cases, because they're able to take these reels of you being hysterical, rocking your children, saying, same Lindsay, I stand with Lindsay, I understand this, I thought about harming my own children too. They're able to take that and use that against you
As
in
they
court.
should. As they should.
So be careful before you make these performative
You're a threat
reels.
to like you are a hazard. Literally. You should have your parental rights
Right.
revoked. If you are going online showing your children, we'll play some of these on screen simultaneously here as we were discussing, just because we're running low on time. But there are thousands, tens of thousands of these videos online now, which I was completely oblivious to, but having looked into it, like literally compilations being stitched together of women showing their children, showing themselves crying in a very performative way, mind you. But still, the messaging is, yeah, me too. I also have the urge, much like you, Lindsay, to murder my children because this is so difficult.
This is what
Which it isn't.
happens.
It's not
A
difficult
lot of
at
it
all.
is, well, there's been a lot of we are all Lindsay, which is like I find so offensive.
No, we're not.
We are all Lindsay. And it's like to every mother that just wanted to be seen. And that's the problem with this is if she gets off, which she very, very well could. Like, so right now the jury hasn't started deliberating. By the
Don't
time this
even
comes
float that
out,
out
I don't
there.
even know. She could very easily get off. This other mother just got off. This North Dakota mother could get off. But if we start telling women, you can do whatever you want.
a
You
free
can
pass.
off your children when you want attention or you're feeling desperate or you're feeling depressed or you're feeling underappreciated. If you kill your children, you can just plead insanity
Yep.
and everything goes. We don't hold fathers to this. Remember Travis Decker last year? May 20th of 2025, Travis Decker, anyone that lives in the Pacific Northwest will remember this case well. He was an Army veteran. He had severe PTSD from his service. And then his wife said that he was a loving father, a wonderful husband, wonderful man, just started going nuts. I mean, true psychosis, PTSD. He was on a multitude of different drugs. He was in therapy. He was trying to get help. He was calling out. She divorced him because she didn't view him, they just weren't compatible anymore. I don't know what happened. She divorced him. Imagine Patrick had divorced her during all this. Oh my God, she'd be. So this woman actually divorced him.
Yeah,
and I
goes-
don't fault her for that.
To that point, though, it goes beyond that because it's not just male, female, mothers, fathers. You have situations like the Carmelo Anthony case where people are like, oh, he was fully justified in stabbing that boy to
Right.
death because he was bullying him.
Right.
You have the Luigi Mangione case that
Mm-hmm.
we discussed on the podcast where, oh, you're fully justified because this wasn't a
But
good
I've
guy.
never
He was the
seen-
head of an insurance
Yeah, but
company. He
these-
was screwing people over. So he's
Right.
fully justified in murdering this man in cold blood on the street.
But again, those are the same women.
Yeah, but it's a lack. Yeah,
It's the same women.
It's a lack of discernment. There is no justification outside of a justifiable use of force to where your life or somebody else's life is being placed in danger to where you may experience serious bodily injury or death. Fine, fully justified. But to walk up to a guy and shoot him in the back on the street just because of his professional job title. And we're coming out in support of this dude. Like, there's still droves of primarily women who are coming out saying, let him go. You have the Carmelo Anthony case. There are a number of cases like this to where there's a complete absence of any discernment
Yes,
whatsoever.
but I've never seen a father off his children like the Peterson case, right?
Yep.
There were no women supporting him. So when it comes to, it's almost like women feel ownership over children before birth and after birth, where it's like, these are ours and we make the decision whether or not they live or die. And whether or not they live or die can never be blamed on us because we have full control over it.
and you might be experiencing some very convenient psychosis.
Yeah, so I mean, I do
It's a free
believe that
pass. Do what
he
you
did
want.
have some kind of psychosis, but nobody stood up for Travis Decker. He picked up his children for a scheduled visit. He brought them camping, and then he never returned with them. So then the mother panics because he had some kind of, he had been dealing with some depression. They go to where they were camping. They find all three of their bodies. He had put plastic bags around their heads, and he had smothered his three daughters. Nobody was supporting Travis Decker. No women were coming out in support of, and nor should they. What he did was evil, and what she did was evil, and it's okay to call it that. And we cannot start making excuses for evil behavior. Otherwise, this is going to continue happening.
Oh, it's going to continue.
And so,
we're circling the drains here.
yeah, I know, but it's so bad. Like when the messaging on social media is where, like, we need more positive messaging about mothers. If you're feeling frustrated, call your grandma. My grandma was so powerful with me. She taught me a few lessons. One time I was complaining about Nevaeh got into the cereal and she got it just everywhere. And then the flour. And I was like, oh my God, grandma, she made such a mess while I was talking to you.
You should have killed her.
And she said, Melissa, dear, in her sweetest little voice, she raised 5 children. If it takes more than 10 minutes to clean up, it's not worth getting upset over. And I kept that with me still to this day. And she's so right. It's not worth letting your blood pressure go up.
Yeah, but also, that's not like some profound advice.
But
Credit
it
to grandma.
was.
Love your
It
grandma.
was
But it wasn't.
profound.
That might be something that is hard to...
It was common sense that you lose sight of.
You lose sense of it in the moment. You lose sight of it in the moment. But that's not like, yeah, no kidding. Yeah, you shouldn't lose it. Lose it over your kid making a very small mess.
Yeah, you know, like, remember that song, You're Gonna Miss This?
You shouldn't go into your bathroom and start chucking ice.
Right.
While after setting up your camera on a tripod.
Songs like the song You're Gonna Miss This are powerful. They're simple, but they're powerful because it's true. If you are feeling frustrated as a mother, speak to your mother-in-law, speak to your mother, speak to your grandmother. They have so much wisdom in hindsight that is going to bring you back down to earth. Do not jump on TikTok and do not jump on Instagram and get lost in these rabbit holes of motherhood is a burden. Motherhood takes your pink away. If you guys don't know what that is, I want to just talk about this really quick. Losing your pink is become a hashtag. And it's because when a mother flamingo takes care of baby flamingos, it takes nutrients from her body and it drains her of her color. So she becomes pale or white. And then after her children grow up, her nutrients come back and her pink feathers come back. So when they say you lose your pink as a mother, it's because you're pouring everything into your babies.
Right.
And so I see all these moms crying in their car, showing their hoochie mama pictures in their dresses, dancing on bars,
I'm missing out on
going,
this now.
that was when I was pink and now I'm just this fat mom with a battle bun and
It's
watching
so funny
Candace
how
Owens.
distorted that has become. That should actually serve as a really beautiful metaphor that you give
Yeah.
of yourself for your children. And I don't understand why in our modern era, this is such a radical concept. Like I said, I would happily give up my life. I would give up everything I have if it meant that my kids were going to be okay.
Because Satan seeks to destroy, and he doesn't do it in a red suit and a fiery pitchfork and little devil horns. He comes as a tempter.
Yeah,
Like he promises, and he comes not so that you worship him, but so that you worship yourself.
You give of yourself as a parent.
But
This
that's
should be
not
so
the message
straightforward.
of social media.
I know.
He is using Instagram and TikTok to sway women to believe that worship yourself, do you first.
Yep. Social media is evil.
Self-care, all of this stuff, instead of pouring into your children. I saw a beautiful reel of a mom that said, I didn't lose my pink, there it is. And it was her little girl running ahead of her in a bright pink dress.
Yeah.
And it's like, yes, these are the messages
Correct.
that we need. Like,
But that's not celebrated. You're not, oh gosh, that's beautiful. That's not the reaction and response that
Jesus
elicits.
never told us to pour into ourselves. Never. He said, leave yourself. Deny yourself. You will be persecuted if you live in the way that I want you to live. If you want to be like Christ, you will be treated like Christ was treated, and it wasn't good. You will be persecuted for his namesake. It never says focus on yourself. Do you, girl? You're a queen. Your children are holding you back from important work. No, they are the important work. If you want to be Christ-like, my body, my choice, right? All of you have heard this before. Christ says, this is my body that I break for you. I give my body for you. We as mothers and we as fathers need to give of ourselves for our children. And that is where satisfaction is found. And that is where the love of Christ is found. Not in yourself, not in self-worship, not in denying that you have responsibility and that it's burden. Responsibility is blessing, especially in our children. And this messaging is so dangerous. And if you are falling down these rabbit holes, turn that shit off, guys. Turn it off and come back to earth. If you are a Christian woman and you are falling for this bullshit, you need to check your crazy and you need to reel it back in and you need to start serving in your home. And then you will find contentment. And then you will find Christ's love, not only for yourself, but for your family. And this generation needs to come back down to earth. We need to get it together. Mothers, get it together.
Yeah. Well put. Like I said, we're fired up in here today because it just feels like the world's lost its damn mind. And to be expected, you referenced the crucifixion of Christ. How do you think that would have been handled, or what would the reaction to that have been in our modern day?
Funny, because I just had a woman when I was trying to talk some sense into another woman that had Christ lived today, I would have persecuted him. I would have persecuted him. I would have yelled, crucify him. And I see that as being the complete opposite. They would not have had empathy for him.
Projection much?
Yes. And so like they could, because they're getting everything wrong. You're getting it wrong. You're coming down on the wrong side of this. You're not coming down on the side of life. You're not coming down on the side of biblical truth, because biblical truth isn't always comfy. Biblical truth doesn't say it's all about you. It literally says the exact opposite. So if you are self-serving, and if you are like, it's a perspective thing. As a mother, if you were doing the dishes, just do me this one exercise. If you were doing the dishes and you were feeling frustrated, or you were vacuuming your floors, or you were folding laundry and you were feeling frustrated or unseen or small or insignificant, tell yourself as you are doing the dishes, thank God that my children had a hot, nutritious meal and that their bellies are full and that they're feeling safe over there on the couch watching cartoons while I'm washing the dishes that they ate out of. Thank God. Like, how blessed am I? How privileged are we? If you are cleaning your floors and cleaning your house and no one's helping you, thank God I have a safe home. Thank God I have a warm roof over my head and heat coming out or air conditioning coming out so that my children can rest. Like, you are blessed. You are not burdened. And it's perspective.
Attitude of gratitude.
If you're folding clothes, piles of clothes. I do so much laundry, guys. These little socks, thank God I have these tiny feet being the music of my life. Thank God that I have all of these clothes to put on my children.
No, we just had that baby for you too.
Yeah.
Separate issue.
Separate issue.
Ignore that.
I mean, the fact that your kids have so many clothes, how privileged are you to be able to buy these clothes that cover their body and keep them warm, and the coats and the snowsuits and the many pairs of shoes thrown throughout your house that keep their feet safe and protected. We are blessed.
Summer is here, and if you actually want to feel confident, less bloated, and energized, it all starts with your gut. Once I fixed my gut, everything changed: my digestion, my skin, my hair, and the one thing that made the biggest difference is Cowboy Colostrum, which just dropped a new flavor, cookies and cream. It's so good.
Cowboy supports gut health, and when your gut is right, everything else follows. Digestion, bloating, skin clarity, hair growth, all of it. And Cowboy offers the highest quality bovine colostrum available in the US. It is 100% made in America from 100% American grass-fed cows.
Cowboy Colostrum isn't processed or stripped down. Their colostrum is whole, full fat, and high in protein for ultimate nutrient density, making it the highest quality bovine colostrum that you can buy. No artificial flavors, no fillers, just real whole food ingredients.
And they just launched their most indulgent flavor yet, cookies and cream. Mixed with milk, it tastes just like the nostalgic cookie and cream milkshake that we all love, but it is the same whole, unstripped colostrum, no fillers or shortcuts, and it has become an effortless part of our routine. I have it every single morning. I pack it when we travel. I throw it in smoothies, something that is not only good for me, but that I actually look forward to.
Not only will Cowboy Colostrum bring stability to your gut, the peptides and growth factors will make your skin and hair look absolutely amazing. If you want to feel your best this summer, this is the one daily habit that actually delivers results that you can see. Try the new cookies and cream flavor for yourself. For a limited time, our listeners get up to 25% off their entire order. Just head to cowboycolostrum.com/NWOS and use code NWOS at checkout. It's 25% off when you use code NWOS at cowboycolostrum.com.
/NWOS.
What she said.
You guys know that I love everything about Toups & Co. skincare and makeup, and that is because finally I found a chemical-free, clean routine that actually works. Last year, I really started paying attention to ingredients and fragrances, and I realized that so many products that I thought were clean actually weren't that clean. And so even with the best of intentions, I was unknowingly slathering hundreds of harmful chemicals all over my skin, which means it was going directly into my bloodstream every single day. So then I went on a mission to find the cleanest makeup and skincare, and I came across Toups & Co. They are hands down the best primer and foundation that I've ever tried, which was the first thing that I ordered. And since then, I have replaced all of my makeup and all of my skincare with Toups. A few personal recommendations are the frankincense face balm and the face oil. Both of them are fantastic on your face and your neck. And I also really like the lipstick. It stays put, and having clean products that you put on your mouth is so important. It really is difficult just to pick a few products to rave about because my entire face is Toups & Co. right now, and I even buy the balms for the entire family and the baby balm for Micah. It is all amazing, but if you really want to treat yourself and take advantage of our discount, the vanilla almond body oil for the fall, oh my gosh, guys, it smells so amazing. So if you are ready to clean up your makeup and skincare routine without giving up quality, definitely go check out Toups & Co. You will get 25% off your first order, so stock up with that incredible discount. Just go to toupsandco.com/oldsoul and make sure to use my code OLDSOUL for 25% off your first order.
Yeah, I fully support exactly what you're saying. You're doing a great job of articulating so much of the frustration that we were both feeling clearly. Like I said, we came in here very fired up.
I don't want to see mothers lose the most precious period in their lives by feeling like they're victims.
You're not a victim.
I don't want you to lose the best time in your life lost in depression and self-pity when you can instead be enjoying it. And it is perspective. And sometimes nobody can help you. You got to help you. You got to check yourself. And if all of these things and these TikTok videos and these Instagram and these podcasters are making you feel depressed and sad and frustrated, turn it off. Dive into scripture, dive into your family, get out a book, tickle your kids. Nothing will heal like the laughter of children. If you turn off the distractions, you have a lot more time and a lot less anxiety also. These are poison to our dopamine and our anxiety.
Poison, period.
Yes. So.
It's a great message. You're not going to see, that's not the sexy message.
No.
Or be selfless, not sexy.
Not
You are not a victim, not posh, not sexy. It's a damn shame that the internet has become a race to the bottom again. This is the reason we came in here so fired up today. You have anything else you want to include with this? We've done a significant period of time on this.
Just to close it out, just the morality of it's always said that women civilize men, and not that men can't be civil. I mean, of course they can, but it's just kind of a tongue-in-cheek thing that a man is a man until they find a wife, and then the wife kind of civilizes them. They domesticate them, right? Into monogamy and then fatherhood. Men aren't going around going, I can't wait to have a baby. When they're little boys, that's just
it's
women
not in our nature.
Domesticate and civilize men.
Yeah.
So the morality of a society.
I think the inverse is true now, though. To a certain degree, with these women that we're talking about.
I think you're right, too. I will say that. But I think the morality of a society follows the morality of its women. And if women lose their morality and their sense of accountability, then the society is doomed, because if the line is crossed between the lioness and the babies, then we lose the future generations.
Okay, speaking of victimhood and lack of discernment and just the broken, sick society that we now currently find ourselves in, not only did all this Lindsay Clancy crap have me fired up, but this morning I came across a video. We're longtime Dave Ramsey fans. We've followed his financial plans going back well over a decade, 2 decades at this point. And it has served us so incredibly well. We got to meet him on our trip down to Tennessee. I'm a regular viewer of so many of his videos. I just appreciate the man's advice. He's done very well for himself, and I think that's something to be celebrated and admired. Unfortunately, he has been taking a lot of crap online as being out of touch.
Irrelevant,
out of touch, and so much of his financial advice is criticized as just being obsolete at this point, which I couldn't disagree with more. This morning, casually just scrolling on the internet, see one of his videos, I click on it, and it's about why homes are so expensive today. I'm like, let's see what Dave has to say about this. I watched the video. I'm like, yeah, sound advice. I completely agree. Then I made the mistake of diving down into the comment section, which got me super fired up. This all happened in the bathroom. I came out of the bathroom and I told Melissa, I'm like, you got to read this.
I don't know what happened in there.
You know what? Let me play just like the very beginning of this video, and you guys, some of you may disagree, and that's fine. Like, you can disagree with what it is he has to say. I do not fall into that camp. But I want to react and respond to so many of the criticisms and critiques that we saw down in the comment section.
The median age of the first-time home buyer has gone up from 30 years old to 40 years old in the last 10 years. We have a shortage of inventory. We talked about there's 3 things that the government can do. 1 is lower regulations to get home building going again. 2 is do away with capital gains. And 3 is limit corporate buying thousands of single-family homes and starving that inventory. As an individual, what can you do? Well, quit being desperate and swinging for the fence. And so stay off of DraftKings and crypto. Quit buying crap you can't afford and letting these companies screw you. And you've got a car you can't afford for $1,250, and then you whine because you can't buy a house. It's your fault. You did that. So you got to stay out of the stupid. You got to get the stupid student loan paid off like it's some kind of pet in your house. You got to get that credit cards cut up and get Samuel L. Jackson out of your life. We got to fix all of that. And then the one last thing I wanted to bring up, and I want your input on this because you and I are about the same age, and I've been hammered negatively on this subject. He said, "What'd you pay for your first house, Dave?" And I went, $67,500. What'd you pay for yours? $88,000. What'd you do that on? $18,000 a year. Well, wages have not kept up with house prices because house prices shot up in the last 10 years due to inventory shortage and COVID garbage. And so wages have not kept up. That is real. However, the other thing we've never adjusted for in our psyche out there in the land of TikTok, where you're 27 years old living in your mother's basement bitching about this, is you've never adjusted your entitled viewpoint. Because let me tell you what was in that $67,000 house. No stove. No refrigerator, had to go buy them used. No washer and dryer, no dishwasher, no microwave, no disposal, roll-out vinyl floor on the kitchen.
Come on.
And a Formica top, 1.5 baths, and it was 1,200 square feet with one car garage.
Yep.
So you can't compare that house to your little McMansion that you're bitching about that you can't afford. So you don't compare that. I grew up in a 1,000 square foot house with an unfinished basement. We had no living room furniture until I was 13. Yeah. And the living room wasn't as big as this desk. Yeah. You adjust all of that before you say, well, you're a boomer. You had it good. Yeah. It was easy for you. No, we didn't. I mean, I had 1.5 cars. Yeah. You guys got 3. You really got to adjust for that in your expectations. And then lastly, you need to think about where you're buying. And in most markets, basic urban growth is if you go out of town a ways, as we say in Tennessee, out in the country, it gets cheaper the further from downtown you move.
Okay, any of that sound crazy to you?
It doesn't sound crazy to me, but it's funny because we started talking about this, and even our own children, this actually started a little what he's saying is, and it's like, okay, nope, you guys have now fallen victim to lies and misinformation also on Instagram about what he actually said. Because they're claiming that he was saying that if you can't buy a house cash, then you shouldn't get it. That's not what Dave Ramsey preaches. But that generation, and even our generation, doesn't want to hear that you don't get everything that you see on Instagram.
Again, it's not sexy.
They want
sacrifice, forego, put stuff off. It's not sexy.
It's not sexy. And so poor Dave Ramsey is being dragged through the mud saying, you're irrelevant. His advice is irrelevant for the Instagram, TikTok crowd who feels like at 24 years old, they deserve the fancy house and a brand new huge SUV for dinks or one child. Plus the husband wants a $110,000 jacked up computer on wheel truck. That, by the way, is just going to track your every movement. And then they want $1,500 smartphones in each of their pockets and the closets of clothes and the shoes and the
entitlement.
Our grandparents the boomer generation did not live like that. I grew up in a house and then we lived in the attic of that house when we had baby Nevaeh.
Yep. 1
bathroom, guys, 1. I grew up with 4 siblings, my mom and dad. Then my brothers was living there, and we were living there with Nevaeh. 1 bathroom, no garage, no washer dryer. So we eventually got one and stuck it down in the leaky, moldy basement. I mean, it was very, very different.
Besides the point here, the sense of entitlement and the subsequent criticism that he's catching is what's pissing me off. Big Dave Ramsey fan, but this video isn't landing well. At least acknowledge that there's a problem, and it's not the consumer. He did acknowledge that there's a problem. What he's saying is that you're unwilling. You don't have the privilege of being able to bitch and moan and complain when you're unwilling to do the things that would get you from point A to point B. If you aren't willing to make the sacrifices in between, don't subsequently come back and be like, well, the world's against me. I'm a victim, yada, yada.
People got mad at us for saying that you shouldn't order Uber Eats if you can't afford a house. They're like,
These comments go on and on. I want to try to pluck through them here.
What did you say about clothes? That the average American wears an item of clothing 7 times before
7 or 8 times. So the average American will wear an article of clothing 7 or 8 times before it's discarded, and so oftentimes it ends up in landfills. There was a video that I was watching on this, and just the wasteful consumerism that we experience here with so many here in our country. And this drone shot that was going over a landfill, you could see the fabrics just literally covering these massive mounds and piles in this landfill. And I'm like, this is exactly, I brought this up to you. I'm like, this is exactly why people can't afford a new house. Yeah. This isn't an exaggeration. Well, I still have clothes in my drawers from middle school.
He does.
30-year-old clothing.
No, we don't need to go that far, guys.
And I still wear them. But it goes beyond that. We catch a lot of this, and maybe that's a part of the reason that it got me so irritated. You guys are lucky, you're fortunate. We got to see when I was a cop of like, oh no, you guys are doing good because you're on YouTube. Well, start a YouTube channel for yourself. See how that pans out. And it's not like, this was just given to us. Everything it is that we have was earned. Nobody's helped us along the way. When I was a cop, easy for you to say because you're making $100,000 a year. Yeah, you're right. Do you want to become a cop? You too can make $100,000 plus a year. We have what we have because we were willing to save, not take family vacations, not eat out at restaurants, say no to a number of wants because we have always operated with the wants versus needs. If we need something, that's one thing. If we want something, we can probably do without it. So we're not going to do it. We saved money for a number of years. We were able to find bare land that is exactly what we were looking for in an area that most people would chalk up as being incredibly inconvenient because we're 2.5 hours away from a metropolitan area. We moved to that land after buying a short sale to where, we had long established equity that we were able to bring with us. We pooped in a bucket for 2.5 years. We lived in a trailer for 9 months. And I'm not saying all this to like pat ourselves in the back, but for anybody out there to come at us like, oh, you guys are lucky. This is just, you lucked out. It's so incredibly insulting because this is a 20-year plan that was executed to a T that required a tremendous amount of sacrifice. Like, I cannot emphasize enough to you. I drove a freaking piece of shit truck for 10 years and was laughed at. And I did not care. It was a badge of honor for me. I was happy to do it because I had the end goal in mind. If you were unwilling to do the things that are necessary, if you were unwilling to make the sacrifices, I don't want to hear it. All because you have this sense of entitlement of like, oh, I deserve this. I work hard. I deserve this. Okay, great. If you're not making enough money, then consider leaving that job and finding another one to where you can make even more money. Ben Shapiro caught a bunch of when he was talking about how you are not entitled to purchase a home in the area that you grew up in. That is a luxury. That is a best case scenario. That is not how it pans out for so many of us.
You grew up in Honolulu.
I grew up in paradise. That is home. I still refer to it as home. I don't get to live there because I cannot afford it. I found land in the middle of nowhere in Idaho that requires 2 planes in order for me to even get back home. Like it is so frustrating. The entitlement, the lack of discernment, the criticisms for those, it's the have-nots that have come to like rule everything in everyone's comments section about, oh, well, I'm a victim and I don't have what you have. So you're the bad guy. So let me critique and criticize you because I don't have it. But you weren't willing to do what we did. So don't complain.
What is the saying? Easy times make weak men, and weak men make hard times.
Yeah, it's just it's not even. I don't know. It's just I don't know what's happening, man. I feel like we are so far detached because we do live. We're so isolated, and when I see these types of things, it's. I don't think it is an accurate, breakdown and depiction of the realities of the world, but it is enough to cause me some concern. I do think that these people are a fringe minority, but even them voicing these things so confidently and in garnering support from so many others,
it poisons the masses.
It's very, very troubling because it is a recipe for disaster. You will all like all the people who are so democratic socialists right now and anti-capitalism. Like, do you understand what it is that you're advocating for exactly? Like, you want to ensure that nobody is able to achieve. Just because you haven't been able to achieve doesn't mean that others won't as well. We all have the ability to thrive in this world, and you just want to ruin that for others because things have gone poorly for yourself. It's such a disgusting mentality, man.
Yeah, well, I mean, I do think that it's by design. I think that social media, I mean, since the rise of social media, since the rise of Instagram in particular, depression rates are through the roof, and the self-focused nature of people is through the roof, and anxiety and everything else that comes along with that. But that feeling of I can't, that feeling of victimhood, because that is what is being sold online. And as long as it continues and we dive into this, it's just going to continue. If we can convince an entire generation of the future leaders of the world, our children's generation, which in the next 10 years are going to become the leaders, that they cannot achieve it on their own. If we can get them to buy the lie, and it is working, and we can discredit geniuses like Dave Ramsey. I mean, you could take Dave Ramsey.
He's a good man.
Take his mind and take his wisdom and put him in the body of a 24-year-old living in their parents' basement, and he could show you how to get out. He would succeed again and again and again in today's economy because he knows how to do it.
He has helped so many people find prosperity, ourselves included. And despite that fact, you have boomers hate their children. Oh, he's talking about entitlement, says the guy who employs his children. He's a good man.
Yeah.
But Lindsay Clancy, let's celebrate her and those like her. Let's hold them up.
And the fact that he did build a legacy for his children, the fact that he does
It's a beautiful
employ
thing.
his children, that his daughter sits next to him with a wealth of knowledge of her own, building her own thing and going to take over Ramsey Solutions when he retires, is a wonderful legacy that he built through hard work for his children, who now will take their hard work and continue that legacy for their children. It is what we are called to do. Again, biblically, we are not told to focus on ourselves, to spend all of our money on ourselves, and to leave our children hanging. We are called to build a legacy for the next generation and the generation that follows.
And they don't hoard any of this knowledge or information. They are incredibly generous with it. And like I said, this is what should be celebrated in our culture, in our society. And yet, despite that, that's just not the case. We want to attack people like him because you don't agree with the messaging. The fact that he's able to employ his kids is a beautiful thing. We have recently caught that. Oh, you're just teaching your kids to be online influencers. No, we're not. That's what they've decided to pursue on their own. Probably because we do it, but we're not pushing them or steering them in that direction. It's a lot of hard work, and just the people being dismissive of people like ourselves. And again, this isn't to pat ourselves on the back here. People like Dave Ramsey. It is, it's just infuriating. I'm so sick and tired of it.
I just don't like excuses. I just want people to start bucking
I'm
up and
so
taking
sick of the
excuses for their own
excuses.
behavior. Like, I understand that if you came from a bad childhood or you came from a bad education system or anything like that, that definitely affects what happens to you in your early life. But when you are past the age, I will be generous and say past the age of 25, the decisions that you make are your own. If you make the decision to continue using drugs or continue in some horrible job that you hate that isn't paying the bills, but you feel entitled, if you
not a sexy message, and it totally eliminates any level of accountability.
Right, but like, we live in such a wonderful time of opportunity, and I don't know why anybody would want that opportunity removed. Like, I'm struggling, therefore I want. The party that wanted the government to butt out now wants the government involved in every single aspect of life. And it's like, when has the government ever involved themselves in any kind of aspect of life and
It
improved
turned
it?
out good, yeah.
Yeah, when has it ever been better?
But we're feeding into that sense of entitlement. So many people have it. Oh, I deserve this truck. I deserve this house. You don't deserve anything. Earn it. You want it? Work for it. Earn it. Sacrifice. Scrape. Do what needs doing, and you'll get there.
Also,
but if
there's
you're unwilling to do
steps.
those things, keep your mouth shut.
Yeah, like, you don't get it all at once. There's steps that, like, it starts.
I want a new truck.
Humble beginnings.
I want a
Remember
new truck.
that
Don't
saying?
have one. I've driven pieces of crap. I have never owned a brand new vehicle in my life. Why? Because it's a horrible waste of money. Like, a majority of the time. We have that brand new van. That's your car. I drive it because we were a family of 7.
Brand new van.
But that van was a good buy. It was $31,000.
Right.
And we needed a vehicle to be able to fit everybody that we had in our family.
Also, it's pretty funny because, like, I still drive the Patty wagon, the crazy wagon.
just do without what you can do without.
Yeah, I don't need some fancy new SUV. Could we buy it now? Yes, we could.
Good, but it'd be a bad purchase.
Would it bring me any joy?
No.
No.
The
Not really.
consumerism, the sense of entitlement, all of it. I mean, we're just droning on at this point. We're going to wind this down, but I'm so frustrated. Let us know what you think down in the comments. Do you disagree with us? Do you want to unsubscribe?
Okay, also, this is how we raise our children, and this is how we speak to our children. And as soon as they start making excuses, this is the tone and the messaging that they get from us. So when people ask us, how did your children turn out so fantastic? Like, you've done such a great job. Your daughter is so articulate. She's so responsible. Your son is so, such a great kid. Like, how did you guys do this? This is how. Hard truth, no BS, and don't you dare say it's not my fault.
Don't take a step.
Don't
down
say
the
that in
victimhood
our
path.
house
You
when
are
it
not
is.
a victim. How many times have I said in my parenting history, you are not a victim?
Yeah.
Stop it.
Stop it.
Okay, I don't want to focus on the negative to end things up here. So I get that this isn't everybody that we're addressing, but we're grateful to those of
Everyone's got someone in their family.
It's even okay to just disagree with us. That's fine. I guess I don't. I'm going to do a really piss poor job of articulating this. I'm fed up. If that isn't clear, we're both fed up, and this is incredibly frustrating for those of you
I'm
who
fed
are
up,
here.
but I don't feel like we're beyond reversal with the mamas here. With Christian mamas. All I'm saying is, if you're mad at me right now, I want you to really think about what I said. I want you to watch it back. I want you to dive into scripture. And if something is driving you down a dark hole, I want you to pull yourself out of it. And I want you to think about what it means to be Christ-centered And it is not what the sexy Instagram posts are saying. So we got to pull ourselves out of this. We need our mama bears. We need you guys to come back. Let's go.
All right, love us, hate us. We appreciate you for being here and watching. We will be back in here next week. We're going to try to calm it down. This is like an hour-long rant. For both of us. But
it's Peter Griffin. It really grinds my gears.
This needs to stop. This needs to stop, and somebody needs to serve as a voice of reason. I'm not saying that that's what we're trying to do, but if we can offer up an alternative to the narrative that is just flourishing out in the world and in the online space, so be it. I wish more people would speak up, but everybody, like I said, is out not for what is right versus wrong. They're only out for themselves and the scratch. That is it. Keep that in mind. Social media is a portrayal. It is not reality. And so many of the people that you watch that you think are good people aren't. I hate to break that to you, and it's not to disparage anybody. You know what? It is to disparage some people, because some of the people that we've gotten to know just aren't good people.
Yeah, some of feeding the negativity is a very lucrative business, and we need to stop giving them our time and our views and start focusing on
I don't know that that'll happen, but we'll end on that note. Thanks for being here. We'll see you guys next week. Have a great week.
Living in the new world with an home